what's up? Tom, whoa. Let's try that again with the mic in the correct place. Hey, yo, everybody, what's up? Tom here, back at you with another video. First thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to minimize this Professor Dave video. Professor Dave is awesome. I love that guy's videos, and I like reacting to his videos, but we're not going to be able to react to his video today because I'm going to try to start actually figuring out the Titan Bear combo and see how that goes. The other option was actually going to stack rage charges with the shaman. So we actually do, let me, before I decide to go down the Titan Bear combo thing, let me look at the ascendancy for the shaman, because I believe that is released. I'm also just going to log in to this character, because the Titan Bear character is kind of loosely based off of this, except you're using your bear form to do your slams instead. And so this character is like, where did I send that gear? I sent it to Rick Shielderson. Shit. Well, that's okay. I don't need the gear on to show you the build. I swapped the gear from this onto my other character I'm leveling with. So, okay, so first of all, obviously I'm going to need to do something different, because Constricting Command is kind of dead, right? But I skipped these damage nodes because I needed the strength. But it would obviously be better to just get the strength from gear and then take the damage nodes. And that's what I'm gonna do with my new character. Unfortunately, you can't use Giant's Blood to wield a talisman and a shield at the same time. Because if you read Giant's Blood, it doesn't say you can use two-handed weapons. It says you can wield two-handed axes, maces, and swords in one hand. And then obviously triple the attribute requirements, yada yada. But you're definitely gonna want to do that on a Titan. Well, that actually maybe not if you're using the talisman and you don't even benefit from this. But how are you doing the defense if you don't have a shield, though? That's what I want to know. Is there defense in the Ascendancy? Let's look it up. So what I'm going to do is boom. Shaman. PoE 2. Here we go. Mobalytics has it. All right. Let's see. Okay. So where do you start? You start here. I was just pointing at the screen. You start here. Oh, you can't see my mouse. You start here. And then, so what's this sacred flow? Gain 40 spirit for each available empty charm slot? I don't want to lose a charm slot. That doesn't sound fun. Gain benefits of additional bonded modifiers on runes. I feel like that could be good. Wisdom of the Magi. Gain the benefits of additional bonded modifiers on runes and idols. Like, we haven't seen all of these. I think we've only seen like one. But it sounds like every single rune is going to have an additional bonded modifiers. I'm sure there's going to be some good ones. So that's interesting. And then, do we have what this travel note is? Grants 1 passive point? Okay. 1 passive point, I mean, that's good. So, that could work for your first ascendancy. Then what's this? Every 2 rage also grants 1% more spell damage. Right, so that's what they want you to do. You go into bear form, right? You build up rage. And then you lay down a volcano. And you get 15% more spell damage. Because you have 30 rage, right? And I'm sure you can increase your maximum rage as well. So if you can get I don't know how high you can get rage. I think I've heard somebody say like 70. I've never like gone that hard into it. If you can get 70 rage, then this is 35% more spell damage for that long-lasting volcano. That could work. It's interesting. But this is what I'm putting it up against. The Titan with hulking form, in which all of your small passive nodes are increased by 50%. Which is just raw damage, you know what I mean? So it's like, rage, spell damage for acute combo, I don't know. Hopefully there's better spells as well that we haven't seen. Let's see, what else do we have? Avatar of Evolution. 5% of physical damage taken as cold damage, 5... Okay. So... Okay. Adaptations have a duration of 10 seconds. I don't know what an adaptation is. Take 4% less elemental damage per adaptation, matching that adaptation's type. Alright, so if you can get an adaptation, then you're getting 4% less multiplicative, so that's good. It's not like you're getting 4% decreased elemental damage per adaptation. It's 4% less elemental damage per adaptation, which is multiplicative. So it's like really actually like 4%. So okay, so that's defense. That's all right defense. I mean, do I wish the numbers were a little higher on this? Yes, I do. But I guess it is what it is. Why does it say chat is disabled for this live stream? Stream finished? Furious Wellspring. No inherent loss of rage. Regenerate 6% of your... Okay, so you want this. This is the one that makes your rage really good, right? Alright, so you're trying to stack mana regeneration? So, I mean, if you really... It could be interesting, you know, you kind of follow what the Ascendancy is telling you here, which is stack mana regeneration and get this node. Increase your maximum rage to make your persistent spells that you cast in human form stronger with Druidic Champion. And then you're just trying to stack mana regeneration rate. So, I think you're also supposed to swap into the, what's it called? The Wyvern form. With this, because really you're building your rage in bear form, and then you're using your rage in the wyvern form. I believe they mentioned that. %12 increased elemental damage. And what is this? Are they not telling us what this is, or am I missing something? This is just a secret. It looks like fire, maybe lightning, maybe ice. %4 less damage per adaptation, matching that adaptation's type. Gain 1 adaptation when hit by elemental damage, matching the type of the damage taken. Problem is that doesn't protect you from one-shots, does it? Because it sounds like you'll have 0 adaptations until you get hit by an elemental damage of a specific elemental type. So that means that first hit that you take from a specific elemental type can still one-shot you, because you're going to have 0 charges. Now, yeah, sure, a lot of the time you'll get hit by some small thing, and then you'll just be essentially sustaining them for the rest of the map. But there's going to be times where you have 0, and boom, one shot, if you were relying on that for your damage mitigation. Which you are, because you don't have a shield with this build. You have a talisman. Oh. Go away. Okay, there we go. Oh, by the way, people watching on YouTube, I'm sorry. Oh, I can fix that. Let me actually fix that for you guys real quick. Where is it? It's display. So let's just click on that. Why is it not showing up? There we go. I got it now. I think that's the best it's gonna do. There. Much better. Much better for my YouTube brethren. I care about you too. YouTube people matter. Where did my YouTube chat go? Right there. Yeah. Like, do I really care that much about the rage thing? So, if you just use your ascendancy just for... If you use your ascendancy just for damage, let's think about that. You get your defense from the tree. Let's look at that. So you get the rage bonuses here. And rage inherently makes you stronger. It's actually a really good buff. I think it's like each stack of rage increases your damage and attack speed by 1%. So if you have 37 maximum rage, that's 37% more damage, or maybe it's increased. Either way, it's a big modifier, and your attack speed is 37% faster. So it would be really fast. In fact, you could do that with the wolf as well, which would be cool. You don't normally think about a wolf as having rage, but this is getting rage from the ascendancy. Here's the thing, though. I wish I could see the tree. Gain the benefits of additional modifiers on runes and idols. That could be very good. But then, of course, this is a nothing burger. Increased flask recovery. Oh, wait, no. Increased flask recoveries for the spirit. So, what I like here, bearing in mind I don't know what this node is if I was going to do this, I would take Furious Wellspring, which is 4, okay? So I'm also getting Druidic Champion. And then I would take Wisdom of the Magi. And I would take Sacred Flow. So I would be getting 1 skill point. I would be getting 40, well... No, actually, I don't like Sacred Flow. I want to get damage from my charm slot. Although, there is an argument that it's actually better to have... early game, it's actually better to have Spirit than a charm slot. Because you don't have a really good charm at this point. Like, you might not have any. Now, I understand you can buy things on the trade market, so that'll just depend on the realities of the trade market. What if I can get a good jewel on the trade market? Is there anything better than Sacred Flow, assuming I can just get a good jewel for like an Exalted Orb or something like that? or a chaos. Probably it's going to end up being this one. Oh, Apocalypse. Yeah. You just don't know. Is Apocalypse going to be good or not? Hey, Nyx, 9723. How you doing? However, compare that to Titan, for instance, with hulking form, 50% increase of small passive nodes, 50% increased effect of small passive nodes. %15 more maximum life. Aftershock support. Every second slam you use yourself is ancestrally boosted. Like, yeah, it almost seems like it would be really feasible to start as a Titan. And, you know, mainly use the bear form to do slams. I would not path like this in the real world. I would path like this. You know, go for brutal, smash. Yeah, I'm really stretched thin on my passives on this build. You don't need Giant's Blood. I really don't think you need Giant's Blood if you're using talismans as your main damage. So actually, that's where this build fails, right? Is that you don't have a shield, you don't have good defense. If you're only scaling armor. Now, granted, there might be good energy shield stuff that you can path to up here, or armor energy shield stuff that you can path to. It all depends on what's up here. We don't have this passive tree yet. So, that leads me down to Titan or Smith of Katava. And I have to say, I've heard Zizarin say he's going Smith of Katava. I've heard Jorgen say he's going Smith of Katava. Smith of Katava got buffed. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. Do we have the skill tree? Well, no, he's just using the normal skill tree, but what about the ascendancy? So, here, why don't I just pull this up? No, actually, we're gonna go to Steam. Well, okay, yeah, we'll look at Jorgen's build here. This is Jorgen Smith build. And he went for... This isn't what I want to do. He went for leather bindings. Regenerate 3% of maximum life per second. And 75% fire res for his first one. Interesting. But the cool thing about this is that it's in the patch notes. All of these nodes, when you take them, they also grant you 200 armor. They also grant you 200 armor. I heard Jorgen talking about in his builds, he had 6 of these selected. So he has an additional 1200 armor in addition to all the effects. So, interesting. He goes for increased skill speed and block chance. Really, he just goes all into tank. Well, this is Act 2. Let's see. How do I actually close that again? Act 3. And then he goes for this one. Modifiers to fire resistance also grant cold and lightning resistance at 50% of their value. Right, so basically he has his resistances solved with the ascendancy by the middle of Act 3. And he doesn't even need to have a single piece of resistance on his gear. I guess fire resistance. You get a lot of life from this. About, what is it, like 80 life from this? Block chance, heavy stun build up, empties faster. Which is good because you're walking around with resonating shield with this build. Yup. Greatest defense. Yeah, I see where he's going with this. I never would have thought to build a character like this. Investing so much into tank. And then he's going to go for area of effect, right? +1 evasion per 1 armor. Oh, interesting. So 1 passive to double the armor of your gloves? That's fucking clever. And then obviously this one is a very good defensive cluster. The armor's Ellie is really good. Yeah, that makes sense. It would probably... what I'm getting at is it would probably feel better in the early game. In the very early game. To play something like this than the Titan. Because you do have a lot better defenses for very little investment. And you can put everything into a weapon, essentially. Like, you don't need to spend any currency on a chess piece, for example. Which is normally like, you have to spend about as much on a chess piece as you do on a weapon. But I kind of want to do the whole slam thing, though. It would be one weapon set is mace and shield, and another weapon set is talisman. Yeah, I like aftershocks and whatnot. I wonder if there's any aftershock uniques. Oh, I want PoE 2 GB. Do I even have the right screen on? Yeah. Okay. So, we're going to go... We're going to search for Aftershock. Keywords. This is interesting. This gives all of your slam skills aftershocks. Obviously, there's the supports. So that's Aftershock. What if I look up Ancestral Ancestral Boost as a keyword? What you can do is kind of use the support gems to get ancestrally boosted until you have your defenses at a point that you can afford to not have defense in your passive tree, in your ascendancy. Then you go into the ancestral empowerment on your ascendancy tree, and then you swap out your ancestrally boosted support gems with damage gems. I also heard there's some skill or something that gives you like every third strike has aftershocks on either side of you and in front of you. What about empowered? See, Seismic Cry would be good. Seismic Cry is the cry that I should be using if I'm doing this build. Hey Jessica, how you doing? good. Do you play Path of Exile? Oh, okay. I hope you're not trying to sell me anything. Bolstering Yell could be good, depending on how much is you're getting. How many of your attacks are ancestrally boosted? I feel like it's easy to like basically just constantly be getting it, because ancestral boost has a cooldown of like what, 6 seconds. So if you have like 3 skills that you can use, it usually works pretty well. Let's look at the skills. So Shockwave Totem is Slam. So you can ancestrally boost this. You can ancestrally boost Rolling Slam. Leap Slam. Forge Hammer. I mean, this is essentially the build that I did before. But the idea is early game, you're kind of going between Rolling Slam, Shockwave Totem, Bone Shatter. And then you have Rolling Slam and Shockwave Totem ancestrally boosted. And when you have both of them ancestrally boosted and you go in between them, you basically get 2 out of 3 of your attacks are ancestrally boosted. It works pretty well. There's also Volcanic Fissure. here's my current build. But this is for my shield build. I'm not really planning on doing a shield build here. I'm just wanting to look at the spells really quick.
Volcanic fissure damages enemies and creates smoldering cracks in the earth. If you use another slam skill on the cracks, they will erupt with aftershock explosions. Volcanic fissure damages enemies and creates smoldering cracks in the earth. Volcanic fissure damages enemies and creates smoldering cracks in the earth. If you use another slam skill on the cracks, they will erupt with aftershock explosions. Volcanic fissure damages
really
enemies
good.
and creates...
It's really good for clear. But I think it's better to just wait for Forge Hammer. Because then it really works nicely with Ancestrally Boosted. You Ancestrally boost everything. Forge Hammer. Leap Slam. Rolling Slam. Forge Hammer, Leap Slam, Rolling Slam. And you go Forge Hammer, War Cry. No, what you do is you Leap Slam in. Or you can do it like this. Forge Hammer, throw it at the target. Leap Slam to the Forge Hammer. War Cry. Rolling Slam. Everything is ancestrally boosted. You fuck them up. And it does a huge AoE because of the Forge Hammer. I say huge AoE, it's like 40% of the screen. And obviously with the bear it's going to be slightly different because what I'm planning on doing with the bear is swapping between a talisman and a mace and shield weapon set. Do you even need to leave the bear form? You can war cry as a bear. You can slam as a bear. You can do mobility as a bear. Well, you could just come out of the bear form for like Forge Hammer. I doubt you can do Forge Hammer in the bear form. No, because you would need a mace. But the bear might have something like that. Because I do think that's a viable build. That's how I did this build originally, or my my other build. And the campaign was quite smooth. Although I did twink that character. But yeah, since I'm going to be really doing my DPS in the bear form, I think you don't need to even get Giant's Blood. Which just makes gearing so much easier. Yeah, and then Ancestral Cry, they have this for the bear form as well. So I gotta stop biting my nails. Let's look at the tree again. I think I know, well anyway, the first few support gems. Maybe I should look at support gems. It's basically the same support gems that I have in my other character.
Yes? This is all we have. A useful trade. I will make use of this. Indeed.
I'll do what I can to sell it for you.
Is this worth anything? No, it's common. But Jorgen was saying you can use this with your build with Smith of Katava. If you use Smith of Katava, you can get away with using this as your amulet. Which is crazy. 30% increased skill speed is like insane.
Need mana.
Yeah, very fast attack speed compared to
Yes?
just trying to clear up a little bit of space here. Okay, so I want to look at support gems. First of all, let's actually look at... Oh, no, I know what I'm doing here. Where's my headhunter?
Hail.
I didn't sell that, right? Where's my headhunter? It's got to be over here. Okay, so if I look at the support gems here, branching fissures, yeah. So I would go Fist of War first. And honestly, early game, you might go Fist of War and attack speed and just call it a day. And you can grant, you can generate rage like this for all the rage synergies with the bear, you know? So, I'm starting to think that actually the move might be swipe with the bear as auto attack and then bone shatter. But Bone Shatter doesn't consume rage, though. There's a lot of ways to do this. End of the day, it's gonna be Fist of War and Brutality. And I'm gonna cycle through my spells. And it's gonna be fine. So I think it's Titan. I think I'm gonna go Titan. Well, here's the thing. Okay, last thing. You can always switch to Titan later in the game once you get better gear. But Smith of Katava makes it way easier to gear up during the campaign. Ooh. I might need to go Smith of Katava just for that one reason. Because during the campaign, honestly, the Titan Ascendancy is not amazing. Like, I usually go for Crushing Impact in the campaign, but realistically, that's not that great. It doesn't really increase your damage that much. This is quality of life at a time when you're really just looking for raw damage. Like, the campaign is not when you're looking for quality of life. And especially Act 1. So what you could do is just armor or life for your first ascendancy on your Smith. And then swap to hulking form. Titan, sorry, not Smith. Maybe I will do Smith, but I'll do Smith slams. It's gonna be less aftershocks. Oh, you can do aftershocks for your first ascendancy. Yeah, actually, aftershocks for your first ascendancy makes a lot of sense. I want to run a map. I want to run a map with this guy. And that's what I'm about to do. I could just go get the better shield from my other character and slap it on here. I think I should do that. This character is not as tanky as my other guy. Let's see how it goes. At least he's a little tankier now. Oh yeah, this is fun. I can't wait to do this with a bear. Look at that AoE.
They're swarming! Meat creature! No lock is unbreakable.
See, this build is fun. I can't wait to do this with a bear. It's gonna be so cool. Especially if you could just, like, kind of, rampage. You can build up rage pretty fast. I'm at 34. It does require a support jump though. But yeah, I just find this build to be very fun. the idea is you build up rage pretty quickly. And so it should be no problem to just run around as a bear.
Mind claimed. No challenge.
And honestly, constricting command might still work. I mean, if you think about enemies being in my presence.
Hello there.
I mean, you're a melee build, right? Like, you don't care if things are... Like, there's always going to be an enemy in your presence if you're in a melee build, right? I mean, the problem is if there's none in your presence at when you want to start the attack and you're moving into them with your attack.
May they return to the earth. You won't escape!
The aftershocks do so much damage.
I've nowhere to keep that.
It's it provides great clear because you slam one area, and then while the aftershock is going on there, you're attacking another area. So the screen is just like filled with explosions.
Steel yourself! Meek creature!
Whoa.
Fortune favors me.
I'm lagging. Or actually, maybe it's just the chilled ground that's making me think I'm lagging. Okay, this boss.
Your way has no place here, Cowardly. My love, I call to you.
And that's how that's done. Greater chaos. Nice. I just love how everybody just blows up.
Meek creature!
So yeah, this build is awesome. Can't wait to do this with a bear. That's essentially my plan, is I'm doing this with a bear. Then perhaps not using Giant's Blood. I think I'm gonna go run another map. That was quite satisfying. What did I sell?
It's you.
Oh, the logbook. Probably underpriced those, but whatever.
What is it?
Alright, let's go run another map. I'm gonna go hit up this moment of Zen here. Here, let me put on the video I was gonna watch. Oh, where did my, oh, I have the display capture on.
Usually with other people who deserve to be mocked as well. Today is one of those days since Terry decided he needed to team up with another monumental douchebag, Russell Brand. Was the resulting conversation hilarious? Of course it was. Let's check it out. Like I said, dunking on Terry after his first Rogan appearance was a no-brainer. But since then, it's been difficult to resist circling back to him. Not just because it pisses him off so much that he challenged me to a literal duel on Twitter, but also because he keeps resurfacing with some other piece of crap that I also absolutely need to dump on. First it was Eric Weinstein, then it was Billy Carson, then it was Billy Carson again, then it was wiping you and PVD, then it was Bill Maher, and now for his next face-off, he's picked another douche nozzle supreme, Russell Brand. Most people know who Russell Brand is, but if you don't, he's from England, and he used to be an actor and comedian. He was in one good movie, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, a crappy remake of the classic movie Arthur, and some other forgettable stuff. He was famous for being highly verbose but fairly witty, and also for banging people, a lot. Early in his career, he was politically active, defended Palestine, campaigned for redistribution of wealth and other left-wing policies, and was generally affable. But then, during the COVID pandemic, Russell went batshit insane and underwent a complete metamorphosis. He turned full-on far-right conspiracy peddling grifter. All manner of COVID nonsense, anti-vax bullshit, a lot of anti-vax bullshit, I mean a lot of anti-vax bullshit, dog shit geopolitical takes, you name it. You've been lied to about Ukraine. Bill Gates is an evil, lying eugenics robot. A lot about Bill Gates. You thought the pandemic was bad. Crazy dystopian fear porn. The Great Reset is here. It's not a drill. Click now. Click now. His content has it all. Clickbait titles, clickbait thumbnails, complete with shocked facial expressions, and that dose of dopamine that clueless brainwashed morons can only get when they're being told they're too smart to fall for government such and such, big pharma, blah, 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 woke indoctrination, whatever the fuck. Views increased by an order of magnitude, audience capture took hold, and there was no turning back for him. And it wasn't just conspiratorial rhetoric, it was product promotion as well. Ads for special powders and metals and all manner of other alt-health garbage. He also promoted a magic amulet that he claims protects against corruption by evil energies and lethal Wi-Fi signals. Of course, Russell employs a Mott and Bailey just like every other grifter pushing ludicrous conspiracy theories. When pressed, he will pull back from some ridiculous claim over to, I'm just asking questions. He will retreat from some objective falsehood back to, the mainstream media lies to us. It's as common a grifter tactic as there is. YouTube finally took down one of his videos in 2022 due to a violation of their policy on medical misinformation, and that was Russell's cue to move it over to Rumble, the platform of choice for every hyper-conspiratorial wannabe cult leader who doesn't give two shits about telling lies that get people killed. But that's when the rape allegations started. Well, not started, let's say ramped up significantly. He'd been credibly accused of sexual harassment and sexual assault for almost 20 years at that point. But it really ramped up in 2023 when more formal allegations and investigations took place. Earlier this year, he was finally charged with multiple accounts of rape and sexual assault. He pled not guilty in court, and legal proceedings are still underway. As you can imagine, in his content, Russell repeatedly and vehemently denies all of these allegations and spins the whole situation into attempted character assassination by the man, because he's getting too close to the truth, and a lot of his fans have bought it. Of course they are trying to silence him. It's a coordinated attack by the lamestream media and their New World Order agenda. Russell exposes the evil people, and that's why they want to cancel him. It can't possibly be that he's just a piece of shit who both rapes women and lies to make money on the internet. What an absurd notion. To really cement his newfound favor among far-right Christian nationalist assholes, he converted from Buddhism to Christianity, and even got baptized in 2024, taking his Messiah complex to the next level. Man, the guy really commits to his roles, huh? He's like the Daniel Day-Lewis of creepy rapist pseudo-wellness influencers. He also campaigned for RFK Jr. during his 2023 presidential run, and even attended the Republican National Convention, eventually going on to endorse Trump in 2024. And people say the spiritual guru to alt-right pundit pipeline doesn't exist. So as you can see, Russell is a perfect match for Terry. They're both clueless, sanctimonious, misogynistic douchebags, pretending to be wise and spiritual to grift off of the gullible public. They have slightly different flavors. Russell rapes women. Terry just beats them. Russell learns lots of words and rattles them off rapid fire to sound more intelligent than he is. Terry does the same, except he skips the part about learning what...
Sorry, I wonder how this tree is going to be. Because I think... I now have my plan. I do think something like this is viable. You know? Isn't there an ancestrally boosted tree somewhere around here? Yeah. Where is guided hand? Why is there no guided hand here? Weird. I don't know why POB doesn't have guided hand. So I'm not exactly winging it, but I think I'm gonna look at the tree once they update the tree And depending on the values, if the values are good enough or if I see any good synergies, I might go for that. But in short of that, my plan is Bear, Titan, Aftershocks, Fissures. And I think that'll be fun. Or, yeah, maybe Smith of Katava. Yeah, it would be Smith of Katava for the campaign, and then swapping to Titan once I get better gear. Or if Smith is still feeling good, I could just stay as Smith of Katava. So that's the plan.
words mean. Russell likes accessories like necklaces and scarves. Terry likes stupid hats that he wears on top of hoodies. But these are superficial differences. The similarities run much deeper. They are both supreme narcissists that crave the experience of being wise without bothering to acquire an ounce of wisdom. This is what attracts a cult-like following of people who also want to believe they are wise, and thus reward any creator who reinforces this delusion by conveying the idea that wisdom comes from a baseless rejection of reality, and embracing a fabricated reality where expertise and real knowledge don't exist, only feelings and vibes. Spewing and regurgitating total horseshit about an unlimited number of topics is the currency of this cult, and these two are some of the biggest pseudo-spiritual scumbags in the game. Getting legitimately canceled by society because you're a violent, abusive maniac? Spin that right into your persona and build a cult around it to insulate yourself from reality. My truth is too hot to handle. I'm just a reformed misogynist who's found spirituality, so everything bad about me is A-okay. These guys are peas in a fucking pod. That's why it was no surprise whatsoever when Terry showed up on Russell's channel. To those who noticed anyway, I'll admit that I completely missed it. It took several people emailing me about it to take a look, and once that happened, I figured it was worth some coverage. So we're going to dive into this video now, but first, a quick word from today's sponsor. Do you travel a lot? Do you get frustrated with complicated data plans that hit you with surprise fees while abroad? You should check out Saley. Saley offers affordable eSIM data for international travel. So what does that mean? Well, the SIM card in your phone is what allows you to connect to a cellular network, and an eSIM card is a digital one of those that will let you connect to wireless internet without worrying about coverage from your normal cell plan. Why is this amazing? 1, you can connect everywhere, even when there's no local connection. 2, you'll never get screwed with outrageous roaming fees. And 3, you can install the eSIM just one time and use it for all the countries you visit. No more long lines for local SIM cards. Sipping sangria in Barcelona, exploring ruins in Cairo, wherever you are, Saley will keep you connected, no physical SIM card necessary. Order an Uber right when you land. Access maps no matter where you are. Just download the Saley app via the QR code on screen. Once you're there, find your destination. Let's say it's France. Then choose the data plan that best suits your specific needs. Look at that, a whole gigabyte of data for only $4. And you can use coupon code Professor Dave for an exclusive 15% discount. Once you scan the code on screen right now and get started today. Okay, now back to the main attraction. On June 18th, Terry appeared on Russell's channel for a segment called Terrence Howard's Shocking New Theory of Reality. I don't know who's still getting shocked here. Everyone and their mother has heard Terry spew his gibberish by now. But Russell, being the wordsmith that he is, might help him find a new angle. Let's have a listen.
Russell Brand, Russell controversial conspiracy theorist,
Trying to bring real journalism
to the American people.
Need more life regen.
Wow. Remember...
I'm done playing for now. Oh wait, I'm still alive?
Tucker's log cabin dueling banjos intro? Russell's done pretty much the same thing. Gritty southern rock? Check. Freedom lovers unite? Check. Guns are awesome? Check. Camo, camo, camo? Check, check, check. American flag even though he's English? You're goddamn right. He's bringing real journalism to the American people, because that's where all the dumb fucks are who will properly monetize this hot garbage.
Hello there, you Awakening Wonders. Thanks for joining me for a very, very special show. Am I the white Terrence Howard, or is Terrence Howard the black Russell Brand? It's a brilliant conversation. Geometry, mathematics. Terrence Howard is having a second career, not as an actor, but as an extraordinary sort of spiritual entrepreneur. Like, I know a lot of cynical people would attack him, but I can't help but think they're the same kind of cynical people that would attack me. I think he's an open-hearted, good-hearted, and brilliant man.
Yeah, people who know that both of you are completely full of shit are just being cynical. It's not that they actually understand science, or politics, or dislike rapists and wife beaters. But congratulations on your parallel second careers, where you both grift off of people who are too stupid to realize that neither of you have the faintest clue what you're talking about. Nice bare chest, by the way, Russell. Nothing rehabilitates a rapist's image quite like this whole "I'm probably not wearing pants either" vibe you've got going.
But let me know what you think in the comments and chat. First 15 minutes will be available on YouTube, X, all those places. But ultimately, you've got to join us on Rumble Premium for a fantastic conversation.
That works out just fine for me, because 15 minutes of YouTube boners is about all I can take, and I sure as fuck am not signing up for Rumble.
Haters are gonna love hating this, because this is two men of scant education using a lot of very, very long words. It's an ontological discourse that's part rap and part rhapsody. You're gonna love it. Let me know what you think in the comments and the chat.
You already said that 20 seconds ago. I'm not going to leave a comment, I'm just going to make fun of you in my own video. And it's adorable how you admit that you're both uneducated buffoons using big words you don't understand, but anyone who shits on you for it must be a hater. Airtight.
All right, Terrence Howard, thanks so much for joining me for Stay Free with Russell Brand.
Amen. Thank you for having me on this, man. I've enjoyed your platform and everything you've been doing with it.
Do you know what? Man, like, I'll tell you this, I'm exhausted. I can't cope with the news cycle. I can't cope with the pressure of generating content on social media. How are you doing with, thanks for the compliment, by the way, on keeping my weight down. That you've put me in a really good frame of mind.
Russell is already hallucinating. Terry didn't say anything about your appearance, and if you can't cope with the pressure of generating your god-awful content, just do everyone a favor and stop making it.
But you, like me, have entered into a more you've come out of a space that, let's call it for brevity, mainstream, in a more peripheral media spaces. How are you coping with what I assume are constant attacks?
Well, I look at it like, you know, if you're not being criticized, if you're not facing some kind of headwind, then you're headed in the wrong direction.
Yes, the old misunderstood iconoclast routine. When everyone in the world is making fun of you for pretending to be a genius while being unable to do second-grade math, that's when you know you're headed in the right direction.
So the more light that's shone upon me, even whether it be negative, you know, or be positive, it's still going to, at the end of the day, you know, we're all going to end up back as the creator, you know, in the full circle of all things. There's the creator. Perfection can't turn itself into imperfection. Perfection can only beget perfection. So our perception is off, because how could the universe be so perfectly made and yet we be so flawed?
Terry loves when light is shone upon him, negative or positive or any kind of light, because in the full circle, we are all God. Terry more than others, but all God nonetheless. That'll play well with St. Russell's Jesus-y crowd. Also, the universe is perfect. Didn't you know that? There can't possibly be a better universe than this one. What about one where everything is exactly the same, but these two twats don't exist? That sure sounds preferable to me.
And this woman, Gina, who had lost her child, you know, many years before, you know, when she had cancer, she had this beautiful mental attitude that never once, even though she broke down and cried, never once did she curse or blame the gods or blame life. She just dealt with it from a happy and grateful place. And I mean, I took a great lesson from that, because at the end of the day, we're just gods unaware of our divinity.
Did you take a great lesson from a lady who had a positive attitude despite suffering hardship? It's not showing. After the world refused to recognize your imaginary brilliance and you became the laughing stock of the internet, you just threw a series of toddler tantrums, insisting that everyone is a stupid jerkface and demanding the opportunity to retaliate with physical violence.
Like, I have surrendered to Christ. I've become Christian after, for a long time, having a kind of somewhat diffuse and autodidactic spiritual perspective. You know, like, I just was watching something. I was watching a YouTube video clip of some people called Minority Report, I think is what they're called, criticizing me and stuff. And like, I watched it because I thought, I want to watch things where people are attacking me and see if I can stay in my kindness. One of the things they were attacking is like the way that I talk.
Ah, Sam Cedar. I consider him somewhat of a kindred spirit. Which video could Russell be talking about? Meltdown about Greta? This hypocrisy one? The one about his transphobia? Being a corporate sellout? Idiot contest with
That was
Dave
just
Rubin?
stupid.
You're gonna have to be a little more specific, Russell. But no, I won't accept that all they did was make fun of how you talk. That's just your way of deflecting from the substance of their content. You pretend that intelligent people are somehow incapable of dissecting your disgusting transformation into the grifting fraud you've become. Is that all you've got?
And I reckon like you like me are probably from a normal background. You've educated yourself. You've not gone to some like fancy university or anything like that. So like all the stuff you know is probably personal experimentation.
Neither of you jerks have educated yourself or done any actual experiments of any kind. That's why you sound like idiots when you try to discuss science or any other topic. This disdain for fancy universities is just your way of pretending that you can magically know more than educated people without ever learning or doing anything.
Based on the early part of our conversation and other podcasts and interviews I've watched you in, seems to me that you've done some sort of psychedelic experimentation. At least that's like my guess. I hope I'm not mischaracterizing you there. Like when you're sort of, when you're like,
Sorry, Terry, did you think this was going to be a conversation? Russell likes to do 90% of the talking. That typically involves making assumptions about the other person and then steamrolling over them when they attempt to participate. But you'll have to forgive him. He's just so excited about Jesus.
when you're like following your own path, you know, like there's a lot of pitfalls in that. It sounds to me like have got a somewhat pantheistic view of spirituality. The divine is in all things, God is everywhere, God is everything, and I dig it and I like it. But the collapse into Christianity for me was important because in surrendering to Christ, I feel like I'm surrendering to a man, and my resistance to that, as well as a God, a man as well as a God, before that, I felt like I was the center of my own personal cosmos, and that was the problem for me with a kind of new age approach to reality.
It's really amusing listening to Russell navigate this born-again territory that you know he absolutely does not take seriously and is just a tactic to grow his viewer base. I surrendered to a man. But also a god. I forgot for a second what you people believe. That it's a man-god, god-man thing, with a ghost somewhere in there too. I'm really Christian, I swear. But yeah, the overwhelming ego disguised as humility is something he's nailing insofar as people who virtue signal their religiosity. Great work on that part.
So, like when you're in this sort of space, like you're engineering and creating, as you said, your own perception of reality, the ulterior and ultimate reality, the reality of God, the reality of the light of the consciousness, do you not sometimes feel a bit stranded out there and afraid out there, and do you not run out of resources sometimes, personal resources?
No, one of the things that happened to me early on, as I spoke about when I did the Joe Rogan interview and received a great deal of vitriol about it, was the fact that I was awakened and I awoke inside my mother's womb. I woke up there and was aware, like, oh shit, I'm here. Okay.
Russell is the only person who talks so loud and so fast and so aimlessly that when he finally pauses to let someone else speak, it's genuinely jarring. But of course Terry doesn't have an answer to that ridiculous question. He's just going to whine about a dumb thing he said on another podcast. Yes, on Joe Rogan, Terry claimed he was conscious in the womb. He wasn't, since that's impossible, and he didn't receive vitriol for saying so. He received mockery, completely justified, endless mockery. And he's going to get some more right now because he's pretending that he had a fully formed language-based inner monologue as a fetus.
Don't forget what? It was don't forget that everything comes down to how many bubbles fit in a given space and under what pressure and motion conditions.
Do you have your Terry gibberish bingo card? Check off pressure conditions. Fingers crossed for angles of incidence next.
And when I was 5 and I awoke in the middle of the night, and this entity had a conversation, took me down this watery path and asked me if I could have anything I wanted. And we were very poor at the time. I was like, so I thought for a moment, and then without hesitation, it seemed, I said, I want to know how everything works. And that being opened up a door and took me into this room that had a crystalline flower and started handing me all these incredible shapes that I had never seen before.
Man, that magic dream genie really screwed you over. You asked to know how everything works, and all he did was show you some dumb shapes? He could have implanted all of humanity's scientific knowledge in your brain Matrix style. Instead, all you got was this shit grift and some dumb shapes.
And I had access to the Akashic record, and therefore I was able to compare. I was a Jehovah's Witness for over 25 years. I went around teaching everyone as much as I could about the Bible until I learned that according to the Bible, mankind has only been in existence for just over 5,000 years.
Terry was a Jehovah's Witness? How did I miss that? It sure explains a lot. Oh yeah, and he said he had access to the Akashic Records, a fictional concept described as a compendium of all universal events, thoughts, words, emotions, and intent. Funny then how he still can't figure out basic arithmetic, huh? And be careful about mocking the beliefs of fundamentalist Christians. You're ripping into Russell's new target demographic.
And one of the things that Jesus was saying constantly was that you are to become like me and be whole like me with my Father, become Christ-like. And God said, you are made in my image. So what does that mean? That means when God looks in the mirror, he should see us. And when we look in the mirror, we should see the Creator. And we do not need, me as a father, I don't need my son to go through some other person in order to have conversation with me.
Well, you're not God or Jesus, Terry. You're just a pointless mortal like the rest of us. But it's fun watching Russell nod and sway, doing his best to pretend you're saying anything even remotely interesting enough to merit having brought you on his dumb show.
So that's my guide. That's what keeps me when everything else feels like it's coming apart. And then moments like this where people are responding to the truth. That makes it okay for me. I'm not here to prove anything to anybody. I'm here to open the door for enlightenment to anyone that wants it.
You're not here to prove anything to anybody? Does that mean you're tired of making idiotic claims like 1 × 1 = 2
that was fun.
and trying to prove it using complete gibberish, which results in the entire internet making fun of you endlessly? So now you have no wisdom to offer, not even the fake wisdom you used to claim, but you're still offering enlightenment? How does that work exactly? Russell, any comment?
I'd like to get high with you, Terrence. If I got high, I'd get high with you. You're a mystic. I can see why you're causing so much trouble. I had this realization relatively recently that amidst the undifferentiated superstate, there may be 2 paths. The path of the bridge. I have got a few teachers that are kind of druidic, or even atheistic. People that are able to operate in the undifferentiated state, the superstate, where before it collapses from wave.
He's like, yeah, there are some non-religious people who I think are pretty good, and those are non-religious Republicans. This is essentially what he's getting to. People who really, really love Trump, even if they don't believe in God, they sort of submit to Trump, and that makes them cool. It's really cool to submit to a man. Yeah.
Into the particular, it could go literally limitless directions.
They really are exactly the same, aren't they? Undifferentiated superstate, the path of the bridge, collapsing from wave into particular. A little half-assed quantum mysticism for you. This isn't a conversation, it's 2 idiots waiting for their turn to say absolutely nothing as confidently as humanly possible.
Now, what I found and what I've been granted through Christ, and I agree with what you're saying, is that the hallmark and the signature of the Almighty is in the human face. We are made in his image. We are expressions of him. Why would the triune...
Anyway, everybody, I'm actually going to take a break now. And I will see you again Tuesday night, tomorrow night, but I'm not streaming again until then. Peace out, everybody.